Hello, beautiful beings. We have entered into fall officially, or spring if you're down below, down under. I have done a reading this day, and I've already kind of got into breaking down the energies of it. So I'm going to go through and share that with you all. All right, so I'm starting off with animal medicine cards once again. And as I drew today, the beaver and the turkey fell out simultaneously as I was drawing for the masculine and feminine. And along came it with badger as the shared energy. And I really got such strong pings of these two working together. The beaver being the spirit of action, of building homes, of preparation. Beavers also mate for life. And turkey being the spirit of giving. Really associate the beaver with water and earth energy, and the turkey air and fire, because we cook up the turkeys. And there's something about the union of these two working together, is of like that the feminine has been doing all of this preparation work of really holding the space, holding the vision, and that the turkey is like coming in and starting to give to it. I also feel like this is an indication of if there's been overgiving, of working too hard to give, that it's time to kind of check that balance and find this weight of the act of receiving and the act of just being within a home. The badger coming up, the badger being the aggressive healer, is a really beautiful indication that we have been tackling these energies with such spirit, which was vigor. Maybe you're like me and been doing excessive karmic clearing and meditation work and really just trying to keep that energetic space clear, because sometimes that's all we have. In the physical, maybe there's like logistical stuff that's like coming up or like I felt like everything kind of cleared out before the first eclipse in September, and then the second eclipse kind of brought up more stuff, which I find it interesting, because usually for me, usually full moons are when you do the release and new moons are when you do the calling in. And many times this year I have felt that those energies are reversed, where it's actually like the full moon is actually more of the time to do manifestational work, whereas the new moon is the time to do clearing and grounding and gritting. So anyway, these are really beautiful coming up together. Now, as I checked in with the internal energies, I went deeper into this, okay? So for one side, we have the Moonlight card. The next side, we have the Seven of Cups. And then we have the Nine of Spells as vision. Now, what I really see is, like, if this is the masculine with the mad hair and the moonlight, this is symbolic of the journey that we've been going through with the moon energies moving around, with the eclipses, with this change of seasons even. But what I really like about this card is you've got it's like the rabbits, who can sometimes represent fear, sometimes they represent fertility, are like taking process of what's happening in these internal waters. Now, this feels like the vision that's being held within the waters when you look in the circle. And this is the feminine vision. It's the goddess alignment, like her taking on her crown. It's a safe home. It feels to me like a lot of like what this beaver's been working on and holding. All right. And, in a lot of ways, the spectating of the rabbits like does relate to this turkey energy. Okay, so what I also like is the element of circles going on in these cards. I really do feel that there's a cycle of completion happening internally. I think that we're just kind of coming to the end of this way of being and really working on bringing these visions forward. What is it that we need to do next? What is this? And I love that this woman here, she's very strong. She's a total enchantress. But is this not her animal counterpart? It feels like her animal form is badger. She's aggressively doing the work. And so what I really feel is like, as these cards come up together, still these messages of the inner union are dominant, as well as how this starts to manifest externally. I do think that the masculine components are going through big sorting of how they navigate life, how they trust the feminine, and the feminine is just like, don't come near me until you trust me, and until you trust my vision. You trust that I'm holding forth part of what shapes our journey together. But it takes the two of them to do the work. Now, I do feel like if we're comparing the feminine to water and, the river energy, and the masculine is to the banks of river, in order for the banks to be shaped, water has to move through. Otherwise, it's just, it's an empty, dry wasteland. So with that water coming through and shaping, but the banks are what hold the water to create its own shape. All right. So this is how they work together. And I'm feeling that so much with this circle energy. Okay, so as I tuned in with the external, I got some cool indications of what's moving forward. Again, we've got the Chariot. This came out with the masculine, I believe, the other day. And again, with the masculine, we've got the Knight of Swords. Now, both of these energies feel very similar. This is a balance of the yin and yang. This is the masculine who's coming forth with a ride, with a movement, with a plan to support a union. He can crawl down in here, she can crawl down in here, they can both pop on top, they can both control the reins, they can take turns with the reins. It's not just on one horse where one's in front or one's in back riding along. And I like that this card came out with it as well, of just like, this is strong movement towards action, towards taking it. This feels very physical with the masculine. It feels like he is going to take the course that is coming forth. Now, again, pairing this with the Moonlight card and what's going on internally, it's like I feel like the masculine is really taking in of what are these next action steps? How do we want to move forward? Then what came out with the feminine is we have this receptive Four of Swords. Now, it was interesting. I got a text about somebody having a heart attack today, and not somebody I was close with. I had a contractor coming over, and that his mother had a heart attack. And I'm just thinking about all of this like heart energy that the feminine have been holding, and when it's restricted and when it's not. I think there's questions around lately. Love. What does love really mean? And if love is the driving force, but there's so many people afraid to receive it, what is the work? And I feel like the work is rest. Now I want to toss this back over to the Beaver card because this feels like the nest that the Beaver has created. It is time to rest. It is time to stop over giving and to nurture and support yourself in your own journey. This is a restorative rest. Look how peaceful she looks in her sleep. All right. And, I love that this card comes together because she's dreaming of this union. She's dreaming of this space coming into manifestation. Now, the card that popped out with it was the Queen of Wands. So seeing her as wide awake, up, ready to move, holding the vision, manifesting the vision, being the light. All right. So we're really loving all of these cards together because it really shows to me that we are on a path. There are big shifts changing, and it's not just with our internal energies. We will start to see this externally. You will start receiving more messages directly from your counterpart energies, and maybe you don't have a specific one. Maybe you're just an initiate of love and you're in a courtship process. Maybe you're in a courtship process with owning a home. Maybe starting your own business. The way the collaborations with the Divine Masculine come forth in many different ways. But as you tune in with that and what that means for you, just know that like these are still like the foundational pillar energies that are supporting that internal vision work and the holding of space. There's a lot of deep magic going on. So, yeah, I did a few more messages that just kind of like narrated the journey. I used, I don't know if I've ever talked about this deck, but it's a mystical Kipper deck. And then I used some of the tarot to help me deeper understand it. So the first one of the journey, it's like we've come a long way. We've really tread the road. We're starting to reach new peaks, to have new breakthroughs and insights. A lot of the long way that we have encountered is in regards to facing our own egos and our counterparts facing their own egos. Now, what I love about these two cards is you have the false person and the Seven of Swords. So it's like how our egos have deceived us, how our inner personalities have not supported our journey. There's a sun in this card, a moon in this card. So this really shows me that whether you're with a karmic or you've been on a path of, maybe not activating your most highest, truest potential, this is part of the work that's been going along on this long journey. Now, what comes forward next is the Page of Pentacles. So I feel like it's the feminine kind of rooting down. It's a lot kind of going in with this like builder energy. Oh, I did one toss too of doesn't this look like her spirit animal? She's holding like the thing. So this is the manifestation. I like that moving forward. I just had to share that because I thought it was too cool that we kind of have our familiars. And I would even say that this guy and the turkey. There's similar colors going on. There's like a similar kind of approach, what is that? A squat to approach to tackle. So anyway, there's a lot of mirroring going on in these readings that are quite beautiful. All right, so confirmations from the universe. We have people honking in every direction. All right, so Page of Pentacles with a rich, good gentleman. Really feel that this is, again, because as I worked with the Mystical Kipper, I said, where is this going? Where is this headed? Where is this taking us? And I got kind of like a story. I like these cards because they feel like story cards. They really narrate a journey moving forward. So a good, rich gentleman, a rich, good gentleman. He's playing chess. He's planning his next move. He's being diligent, deliberate. It's still a little internal. He's inside, and right now he's still playing the game of chess with himself or with an iguana, which may or may not be the best chess partner. Now, the iguana can represent this aspect of dreaming, which takes us back to this, okay? So this is the rabbit, like kind of taking into account the dreams, the energetic components, the visions that the feminine has brought forward. Even his own visions are coming forward in this game of chess that he is engaging. All right? And there's a real presence sitting with this energy to see where it will take us. I love that there's, distant lands in the back. It could even, there's a road that even, it takes you out. We're looking out into the window of the future as he plans his next move. Page of Pentacles shows me that there is a grounded component to this card going on. It's not etheric. It's not just in the wands energy anymore. All right, so then what the story unveils to us is high honors, okay? So this is a man being crowned. And what I really feel with this is like to become a king, you have to have your queen, and I love that there's just like this spiritual illumination kind of coming down in this. The card that came out with this is the Six of Swords, which again kind of mirrors the Chariot energy, okay? And what I think, what I have interpreted this high honors to mean is just like you might still be a little bit in the shadow as they come forth. We may not be coming to each other completely healed because guess what? We will never be completely healed. That's not possible. But we can become more and more conscious of the wounds, of the past things that come up for us along the process so that we may continue to tackle and to work on healing forward and making different choices. To me, this shows that there's a more balance with the higher self than with the ego. I do think too, it's like, the foot that's in the darkness isn't rooted on the ground anymore. It's like it's surrendered. It's resting on a pillow, whereas the foot, his best foot forward is in the light. And it looks like the best foot forward is his left side or his right side, which would be the masculine energy. So again, this feels representative of action coming forth. This feels like movement. And I think the feminine's in this, we really have to shed this idea of being perfect. We have to shed the fact that we are going to be completely healed. It's just that we're going to show up in the truth of who we are at any given moment, and that's the beauty of a situation. Okay, so moving forward, the high honors takes us to the main person, which is a beautiful woman who's in her power. She's hanging out with flamingos and bird. This feels so centered. It feels so balanced, and it feels receptive and empowered. It's all right. I've been waiting for you. Now, what are we going to do next? All right. The card that came out right before that was also the Eight of Swords to give some clarification around the high honors merging into the main person. And so this shows me too, it's like, in the initial meeting or as the connections start to intensify and come more into being, we're going to see some reflections that might be confusing. They might not be clear. The thing is like how we hold the love of the reflection and where we honor that the reflection isn't true to who we are, that we don't really need to be caught up in these vines. This card is always kind of intense to receive, but I really do feel it's like, let's really look at ourselves and try to break free of the spots in which we are blinded. All right. So where is this ultimately all taking us? Main person, You're going to be with your person. You got 9 of Pentacles. This is symbolic of a harvest. This is symbolic of, and it's even the bird has flown into this card right here. It's symbolic of things manifesting. The 9 of Pentacles, while it shows a completion of journey, it also is setting the tone for the harvest of the journey, all right, which might bring us closer to what it is. It is the end of the fairy tale, the end of the thing. So overall, I'm feeling some really great energies moving forward. I feel there's a lot of action in these cards, with the Badger, with this nine of spells, 9 of wands, with this Chariot. There's a lot of action going on in these cards. And then there's a lot of like the resting in it, like a lot. There's so much movement. There's also so much rest. I feel like if I were to give one message for the feminine, it would be like rest and get ready to receive. One message for the masculine is get clear and take action. As far as their shared energy goes, it's really just relish in the beingness of how you two can work together, how you two can manifest, how not only can you heal each other, but how you can heal the world and the greater universe at large. We are actively on this path. It is happening more so than it has ever happened. It's not just an idea anymore. It's not just a fantasy. These things are becoming grounded and they're getting real. And with the realness, there's going to be some bumps. There's going to be some chaos. But the important message with that is to stay in their truth. We talk about divine love. We talk about the sacred union. But we also need to talk about truth. And sacred truth, because divine love and sacred truth work hand in hand, and we really have to be in with those two energies, of the head and the heart, of the spirit and the physical, so that these things can manifest on the highest timelines for us to move forward. I celebrate you all so deeply for doing this work. I know it is intense. I know it's hard. I know the dream and the subconscious realm can be so tumultuous. And I just keep encouraging you to be present with yourself, do as many different healing modalities as resonate with you. Do traditional therapy, do body work, ecstatic dance, breath work, connect with somatic healers, connect with karmic clearers, acupuncture, whatever it is that you need to do to nourish yourself on the multi-dimensional front. I highly, highly encourage it and celebrate it. Please reach out if you would like to connect and we can do a reading session. I'm Hailey Jones. I'm a clairvoyant, an acrobat of the light, and I would love to do a reading and connect with you. So prismhealers@gmail.com. Hit me up. Have a great day and many blessings on your journey. Aho.